Turns out Xerath and Jace quick fire bans across the board.
Well, there is the Xerath ban. I feel like Ryu perhaps was underestimating the Xerath from Pepperino. With Jace banned out has been throughout this series as well. Thresh this time not going to be given over to Rydell. So I think that's a smart set of bans. Probably Lee Sin going to be our last one here by Giants. We know Frederick's not a Lee Sin player. Horo, everybody has talked about his Lee Sin. Would make a lot of sense.
Indeed. If they don't ban Lee Sin, then I believe this will be the fastest auto lock of the century. But it will be Lee Sin banned out, of course.
What does that leave open, though? Could leave open a Maokai, Aurelia, anything up for that top lane.
Yeah. Also, Frederick's Jarvan is open if he wants it. So depends if Millenium want to take that one away from him this game.
They did first pick that in the first game, though, didn't they?
I don't know, but what is for certain is they just picked it right now. So they will be taking that away by Frederick.
I mean, it was a long time ago, and today's been quite a long day, so excuse me if I do mess up the first picks from the first game, but I'm pretty sure they picked Jarvan, because I was thinking we've seen Horo a little bit on and off on Jarvan recently, so he's going to give it another go here.
Yeah.
You have to feel he's comfortable.
It was in that first game. But history repeats itself. Here we go.
Yeah.
Jarvan onto Millenium here.
Kha'Zix, Corki would be the picks that make sense for Giants here if they wanted to take those two away. That would be what we would expect from most teams on the current meta on 4.19. This actually is our last game on 4.19 for the expansion tournament as well, and may indeed be the last game in Europe competitively on 4.19 as well.
Wow, is that a landmark?
It is. Say farewell to 4.19.
Yeah, and here comes the Kha'Zix coming in for the jungle from Frederick.
Okay.
Saw it from last game from Horror. Here comes the Aurelia.
I think that makes sense in this situation. Now, does Kevin want to play the Maokai into this? Does he want to play Rumble? Does he want to play the... Well, I mean, I guess Kevin didn't play the Jax earlier, but we've seen Jax twice today after having not seen him for quite some time in European Challenger. But Millenium have options. They could pick the Corki here. Will they also pick their support alongside that as well? Corki Nami would make sense. Sona alongside it. Millenium have a lot of options here. Also, Zed is available. Let's not forget that.
Oh yeah, Zed as well could very easily go into Ryu. Every Korean mid laner worth of salt plays a Zed. But the hover over Corki here. Let's see if that just gets locked in again for Creatine. If it ain't broke, why try and fix it? They hovered over the Lucian, but if they don't lock in Corki, well, they do. Rumble gets picked as well for the top laner of Kevin. No change here.
Yeah, I mean, Millenium were looking to play the same thing, very similar to the first game that they indeed did win. So I think these may even have been the first 3 champions that they picked up, because I remember had a lot of team fight presence from that initial first lineup. The last 2 picks are a lot more pick-centric, though. So honestly, Millenium have a good basis in which to build the rest of their team composition from. But what do Giants answer with? Corki gone. They've picked the Jinx a good few times now. No Thresh available for them either, and they don't know what the support is. So if they want to counter-pick that mid, they're going to have to go blind into the support role, which would normally lead to a Janna or a Nami pick.
We'll see if it is the Jinx again, because in the first game, all the Jinx rockets kind of missed.
Ooh,
but
okay.
Here comes the Ahri for the mid lane, so yet another pick for the mid laner of X-Peppy. But Alistair comes in as the support now for Giants. Yeah,
it would normally be a Nami or a Janna, but Alistair is a completely different ball game here. We saw the Annie out of Jayri in game number 1, but the Ahri has been locked in for Pepperino, and that is a snowball-heavy champion. If Peppy can get a couple of kills, this may very well be a fast game for Giants.
Let's see what Millenium want to do with their last 2 picks. They, of course, need their support coming in here. They need their mid laner as well. What are they going to pick?
Now, with the amount of hard engage, I wouldn't suppose Giants are going for something that's quite immobile as an AD carry, but saving it till last would kind of indicate that they want to hold off and see how much crowd control there is. And the fact they just locked Orianna and an Annie in means that if Giants were planning on playing something that's fairly immobile or escapeless, like a hyper carry, this would not be the team to play it against, because Millenium have a big damage spike when they hit team fights.
Yeah, don't want to be committing suicide over this last pick, but yeah, Annie comes in here again as well. Jerry picked up in the first game, did extremely well with it. We're trying to repeat that success, and we run down the line of Millenium, and we're looking at a pretty strong team fight-based composition, but we'll touch on that in a second, as Giants kind of put into a corner here. They're taking their time. They have to think this one through.
Very rare that we see an AD carry as the last pick in Champion Select, and especially take this long. Normally it'd be cut and dry, which means Giants are talking about a lot here, and we may see something different.
Hello, that's a Israel coming out here, and that will be Ezreal Alistair in the bot lane, not a bottom lane you see every day, Stress.
But there is a fair amount of poke here from Giants between Ari and Ezreal. One thing they may have a little bit of trouble with is actually pushing towers here, because Ezreal doesn't exactly have the best pushing speed. So they're kind of going poke up against poke and then hard engage. Hard engage is pretty good against poke, I've heard. So this Jarvan Orianna combo could do a lot of work here. Giants, however, are looking for one kill, get the resets onto Kha'Zix and Aurelia, and then kind of skirmish from there.
Yeah, the Alistair as well is also interesting because they picked up before the Ezreal, so they kind of had something in mind and then saw the Annie and the Orianna is like, I guess we'll move away from this and now have the Ezreal here.
I mean, we saw Ezreal yesterday in a game, and we also saw him not really do too much in the way of pushing, which is honestly up against this composition difficult enough as it is against Orianna Corki. This could be problematic for Giants here.
It could be indeed as we get into our final game here, and make sure to hit us up on social media. Head over to Twitter at LOL Esports, use the hashtag LCS expansion and join in the conversation, because place your bets, because this is an extremely tight series. Either of these teams could be moving to the offline rounds and meeting the rest of the teams who have already made their way there, and we'll be playing on the new patch you mentioned before. This is potentially our last game on 4.19. We'll be moving to that, of course, 4.20 patch. Either way, guys, let's answer all of those questions as we get into game. It's this final game in this series. Millenium up against Giants, now in the red corner.
And you have to feel that the Millenium organization have put it all on Koreans. As
all in.
They've gone all in here because they've put a lot into the funds when it comes to bringing over 2 top-level players. But the question is that enough to put them in the LCS? That one-game loss has to have Millenium a little shaken.
Yeah, they were playing the early game a lot slower than they did the first, and that shows, and I wonder if we'll see the same thing. They do feel a little bit shaken. Giants, with the early game shenanigans, tried it mid-game last time. Now they try a bot lane. Flash pulverized, misses the Creatine as he Valkyries out. That's a flash down for a Valkyrie from Creatine. Not bad going this time from Millenium.
Yeah, Millenium will take that one because actually, I'm not sure how Creatine kind of anticipated he was going down there, because he spotted out Rydell as they crossed through the turret vision. That was closer than it should have been, but the flash being down now for Rydell is a major factor on this laning phase. It's going to mean that Alistair is going to get bullied around for a while. He has pulverized, so he can't heal through the early lanes at the laning phase for the first couple of levels. And now no flash means that as soon as he starts taking damage, he is in a lot of trouble. And J-Ree, let's take a look. Has he actually charged up his stun yet? Not yet. But when he does hit that in lane, that could be very problematic.
You may have also noticed that Rydell actually pulverized flashed instead of flash pulverized, and that is the sign of a man who has played quite a bit of Cow, and it's not as hard as some of the other things like flag drag then flash. That thing is almost impossible, but it just shows Rydell was confident with his champion. I
must admit, I was actually checking the vision to see whether Creatine could see him, so I didn't actually see the pulverize. I saw what Creatine saw, and it was him jetting away on a Valkyrie. But laning phase has begun. You see Rydell already taking damage, and they do have sustain in this lane after a couple of levels, and that is one thing they will have over this Corki and Annie, but do not underestimate the burst that Annie and Corki will have down here.
Yeah, it is significant, and they wouldn't underestimate it either, because they saw it in Game 1. Let's take a look at top lane, though. Whirly B up against Kevin. Saw this in Game 1 as well, actually. Blast from the past. And Kevin actually did have that slight CS advantage, so we'll see if that rings true as well as we head into our third game. And Kevin played Rumble all 3 games, in fact. Yeah. Equalizer's been on point.
Yeah, he's actually been having a pretty good series.
Steady Kevin.
Exactly. A lot of people were questioning, did his steadiness fall down at the end of LCS? It seems like he's fixed any kind of issues he had there and is actually seemingly fairly dependable right now up in that top lane.
Mid lane, though, Xpeppy up against Ryu. The matchup that we've seen over and over again, definitely been polarizing, but xPeppy again on a new mid laner. Can he have the same success as Xerath? Because if so, then this could be another game going Giants' way, stopping Millenium in its tracks. Horo heads into the mid lane, maybe expecting some early aggression at the 3-minute 20 mark when both of those junglers go for their initial gank from Frederick, but alas, he actually went for golems this time.
So you can see that Rydell opted for 2 mana pots, and essentially we talked about this a little bit yesterday. Alistar's combo takes so much mana that you can't really heal up too much from it, so he's got those mana pots so that he can be a little bit more aggressive in lane after throwing out the headbutt pulverize combination. But they're forced under tower now, and they're going to have to make sure they can combat all of the poke that Cretin and J-Re are going to have.
Horo is spending a lot of time in this middle lane, and I'm not entirely sure what he's after, apart from maybe a counter gank up against Frederick. He's just making sure that Ryu doesn't fall far behind.
Yeah, indeed. He's playing into Giants' hands, because Giants have already assessed that they know we're coming mid before the 4.5-minute mark. So how about we push it a little bit further back, and Horo will waste some time. You can see that Frederick now is coming around mid, has been warded out, but good swap-up of play by Giants. It's good to see that Giants are able to adapt here.
Yeah, the mind games coming in from Giants, very real. In fact, that's not the only swap-up that pulled this game. Both in those first 2 games, they went mid lane with their aggression for the level 1 play, then they went bot lane. Frederick now heads into the bot lane talking about that. Level 4 has the red buff. J-Re just gets slammed against the wall. There's the exhaust onto Cretin as well. 2 versus 3. J-Re gets eliminated. Adria's dropping low. Cretin takes that one in response. Here comes the Valkyrie. Can they pick up more? Flash from both of those players. That's a 1-for-1 in total.
1-for-1 in total. Who comes ahead on the summoners, though? Because Flash Ignite were used for Millenium. Exhaust, Heal, and Flash for Frederick. But I guess they did get a kill onto Frederick, and he can be perhaps a little bit more menacing in other lanes. But Horo is taking his time to invade. Giants are going to take their time to roam all the way up to mid. Yeah,
Rydell is actually now coming into the middle lane. He has his flash now as well if he wants to head behind Ryu. Ryu, in turn, also has his own flash. So it will be a difficult dive or a difficult gank to go for, and Rydell sees it. He heads back into the bot lane. As I say that, he's chilling out in the jungle. Top lane, though. Flash comes out from Whirly B as he notices Horo in his lane. Decides to back off.
Yeah, spotted Horo on the way to top, so wanted to flash, you know, early, make sure he got away from that. But there's a lot of time being spent in this lower jungle by Giants. Rydell has been around there. Now they want to go mid.
Oh, Peppy does not land the charm, and that signals all of the rest of the Giants team will just back away.
They will. That's a lot of time wasted now.
Yeah.
And Ezreal is under a lot of pressure because of it. There's a big wave pushing in towards him in the bottom lane. Big wave in the top as well. So Giants need to get themselves a little bit of time here and get things back to a regular state of play, because Sheen on Corki right now, and Ezreal wasn't able to pick anything really up when he went back. Only a Doran's and a Longsword, so the burst damage again getting higher and higher for Cretin and J-Re.
And speaking of J-Re, sitting in this bush, just saying if Adri gets too close to his side of the map, he'll hit him with the Pyromania stun.
Up in the top side of the map, the warding has been very good out by Millenium, and you can see what it's allowed Horo to do. Take out the golems, and now maybe look for a gank here. Equalizer is available, and Horo is around. So, Whirly B, if he pushes up too far, is going to be in a lot of trouble here.
Here he comes. Here comes Equalizer. Flag drag interrupts him in the blade surge. Doesn't pull the switcheroo on him this time. Is still chunking him down with the flame spitter. xPeppy comes in from the mid lane though. Chunks down Kevin. He is dropping low. Still ticking from the ignite as well. They should be able to get this kill. Not before Haru comes up with his own cooldowns to flag drag away. But a 1-for-0. Giants come out ahead.
Really nice out by Pepperino. They sensed that something was up there, and Haru showed himself up in that top side, and Pepperino was there well in time for that. So Giants, again, adapting to the play.
Whirly B and Xpeppy looking for another kill on the top lane. Haru doesn't have the mana for his Flag and Dragon, may have to use his flash here. Gets him with the charm, here comes the flash, follows through the Blade Surge. But now here comes the teleport by Kevin, and they are trapped between the Rumble and the side of the map. Oh, Whirly B tries to teleport away and throws Xpeppy to the wolves. He will be taken down here with the extra flame spitter. Down goes the Ahri.
Yeah, a little bit of overstaying and over-chasing. Their turret was still up there, and Giants adapted, but on that one, adapted into the wrong kind of path, because that was not exactly the stellar play that they need for this. But what is going on in the rest of the map? That is a big question. Still a small lead down in the bottom of the map for Millenium. They got that early kill, and they got a bit of a CS lead as well. So Rydell and Adri are just having to be very careful in this lane, and we're nearly at that level 6 for Jerry, where that Flash Tibbers is going to become available. And that is a big point. Oh, we missed it.
Doesn't manage to connect it. That is kind of an issue in this bottom lane. However, looking at the jungle here, Frederick is trying to take away this red buff, but he is very low and in enemy territory. Ryu is chasing him down. Will eventually catch up to him one way or another. Where does Frederick go from here? Jumps in, tries to execute himself. Can they get in range? Nope, the bug dives to the tower.
Splat, but that bottom lane cooldown not being available now for the burst puts Millenium a little bit on the defensive, because that is their big engage tool down in this bottom lane. And it is not going to be good, but Pepperino is pushing up very aggressively here. And you have to feel that Millenium will be fairly confident with where they are right now. They're even, and they're not even into the point of the game where that Orianna Shockwave combination with Jarvan is going to be fully effective.
So we're 10 minutes into the game. Let's take stock, because in the middle lane we have not had as much presence as we've seen in the previous 2 games. This is Giants definitely making some changes on the fly. Frederick has played a lot more passive this time around, and the CS advantage is again coming to Ryu. Xpeppy takes his own blue buff, but is behind in that lane. Top lane, different to every other game, Kevin's actually not ahead in that lane. But Giants now make their play onto the Dragon. And do Millenium try and contest this? They're a little late to the punch.
And do they have Tibbers available? No, they don't. This is going to be a big engage that they don't have that ultimate for. Can they regroup the rest of the team?
Xpeppy tries to get a catch onto Jerry. Again, misses the charm. Spirit Rush connects onto the last charge. Foxfires as well. Doesn't get the Orb of Deception. Frederick from the top side. Horror collapsing in as well. Has to use the Void Assault to back off to his turret. So they get away with the Dragon with no casualties.
Yeah, Dragon was secured, and again, Giants are starting out well against Millenium here. And this is, I mean, building potentially towards the big upset. This is, if Giants take this game, this could be one of the biggest upsets on the way into LCS I think we've seen.
And we've seen some upsets.
Yes, we certainly have, but Challenger is a tumultuous place. Everybody seems to take wins off everybody else. And is there one team that will rise above the others? Everybody felt it would be Millenium, but they are a little bit shaky here in the beginning of this 3rd game of their best of 3.
Yes, indeed. Bottom lane once again, Creatine, the man who has to be doing something about this, but gets knocked into the tower. They go for this trade here, but Adri drops so low, it's ticking down from the Ignite. Oh, will the heal be enough? Yes, it will! By the skin of his teeth, he gets away with his life. And that was not the play that Giants expected to not work out in their favor.
Yeah, Rydell flash pulverizes and gets the exhaust down. The burst damage was still enough, but Rydell has stuck around here, and he does have his ultimate available, but there are a lot of people gunning for him right now.
Here comes the collapse. How surgical can this be with Rydell with his ultimate? Waiting for the right time to use it, and his team will be coming in dribs and drabs. They are taking their time with this one.
They want the minion wave. They don't want to push in.
Here we go, but here comes the teleport now. This could get messy for Millenium. They have to be clean about this. Hit the flag and drag out of turret range, but Horror drops low. Whirly B picks up the first kill, moves on to Ryu. Jerry back from base, turns around now onto Whirly B, gets the Pyromania stun down, knocks him back to his turret. And now Xpeppy from the mid lane, flash into Spirit Rush, comes onto Ryu again, does not land the charm, but created, chunked down by Adri already. Jadri as well be the next one to fall. Double kill comes out for Adri back from base. 5-2 overall in this game. Giants have a solid lead.
Communication is completely broken down here for Millenium. They go aggressive under the turret, and there's a moment where Horo could have backed away, but clearly the engage call was made by Horo under turret into an Alistar with an ultimate, and Giants are going to take that every time, and the teleport was used before they even went in aggressively. I'm very confused why Millenium would engage upon that.
This is not looking good for Millenium, and I didn't think I would be saying that coming into this series, Stress, but, well, the stats don't lie. 3,000, well, make that almost just over 2,000 gold. I'm good at maths, and they will be behind in this game. Giants are controlling it so far, picking up that first dragon. And can they just ride this home? Because at last game they were behind at this stage in the game. And indeed the first game was pretty much even. There's been a little bit more action as well. But it's all about, can they make the mid-game count? Can Pepperino be the carry that the team needs?
It's interesting that Adri has picked up a pickaxe on his last back, because that's forced his Trinity Force boost of damage a little bit further back than you'd expected. You can see Irelia has hers completed already, but Ezreal normally will rely on that kind of spike as well, and it's going to, you know, help him out a bit, so kind of strange he'd do that.
Definitely strange, but what is not strange is the amount of vision that is being exerted by both of these teams, because again, they are going ham. Wards all over the map, mostly in the river. No aggressive wards currently from either of these teams. They're just trying to play it safe, play it conservative. And again, Millenium are on top of the game when it comes to their red trinkets. Top lane, though.
They're committing a lot to this top lane. They know that nobody's really crossed through their line of wards, and they are looking to put 4 people up there. But a little bit of wasted time. Pink ward was enough to spot out the 2 roaming members, so Whirly played it very safe.
Yeah, they did roam up to the top lane, but that was smelt out by Giants, who will carry on farming, that being Whirly in the top lane, not too far behind, and Farm has his Trinity Force as well at the 15-minute mark. We'll be happy with that purchase. Mid lane as well, Morellonomicon saw that last game on his Xerath, but doing the same on his Ahri.
Yes, he is. It's honestly something that Pepperino has just been doing on a lot of champions, so it means he relies a lot more on blue buff. And as you can see, I imagine it is going to go over, unless I'm glad that the passive from Alice didn't end up picking that up.
Trample could have been annoying there.
Yeah, so Pepperino, it's a little more damage, a little more cost efficient when it comes to actually buying the item sooner, but does rely on blue buff. But can they get the pick onto Ryu in this middle lane? He's wise to it. He's going to get away.
Yeah, these big team movements not resulting in too much, not yielding many results. As your ultimate comes bot lane, clears out the minions. 30 seconds until a dragon happens. This will be the point of contention, as Millenium needs to do something about this one. They can't let another one slip between their fingers.
Yeah, and you have to feel like a lot of that's going to be on Kevin's teleport. See if they can get it. Whirlybees is going to be up just in time, but Whirlybee wants to put the damage down and deny Kevin the ability to teleport.
Kevin is not getting the better of that trade in the top lane versus Whirlybee. But as we gear up for this dragon, the vision control is firmly in Millenium's favor. Rydal is there trying to get some control over it.
Kevin got forced back because Whirlybee is actually doing a great job of holding Kevin's overheat timing very well. So Rumble wants to engage when he drops to 50 and then use 2 abilities, but it's mid lane they want the engage.
Void Assault comes in, uses the leap, but now he's caught in the middle of no man's land. Horror comes in with a flag and drag, doesn't tag on the distance. Flash, stun Tibbers, and the shockwave should be enough damage. Last auto attack from the Clockwork wind up will take him down. Down goes the jungler. You have no spike for Dragon.
But down goes the top lane at the same time, so evens up that objective trade. But what else is going to fall from this? I don't think Giants should even look to contest this dragon here, so Millenium will still be behind.
Very well, Ezreal ultimate comes in. Not close to stealing it, but teleport from Whirlybee. They're going all in on this one. The Jarvan will be taking that one away. Equalizer comes out, Ryu flashed over the wall. So will Kuritin, Summoner's Burn left and right. Kevin is dropping low. He has his flash as well if he desperately needs it. Adri follows up. The flying drag over the wall. And everyone managed to escape. Ryu, that's not where you want to be recalling. Will be throwing out the command attack. So everyone gets out alive, but so many Summoners Burn.
I honestly don't know why Giants actually wanted to engage that. They were 4 versus 5 when the teleport completed, but what it has given them is the ability to push down mid because they deterred Millenium from the fight, and that is going to give them an objective. So regardless of what it looked like going into it, that is going to be a good play out by Giants. So overall, a net gain for Giants, 2 turrets for 1 Dragon.
Pretty good trade for Giants so far. Still 2,000 gold in the lead. They are still leading this game. 3 turrets to 1 currently as well. When we look at the map as a whole, started to pick up those big items. Double Trinity Force now on that team. Pepperino once again looks for his pick. The Spirit Rush comes out. Haro flang and drags away back into his jungle.
I thought he had Haro there. Thought the charm connected, but flag and drag was enough to take him away. But Millenium are possibly in a tough spot right now, as at this point in the game, they are behind by about 2,000 gold. So let's take a quick look down the items list. Anything else interesting that has been picked up? Double Hex Drinker actually picked up by Giants to go up against a lot of this AP damage. Again, Millenium are running double AP. And again, Giants are itemizing against it.
Yeah, they are indeed, and a bunch of gold going back to base here. So, what have they decided to pick up? In fact, no one's actually gone back to base. They just started accumulating some of that gold. A Fiends and the Holy Grail comes out here for Ryu, and that measly large rod. As you mentioned, itemizing the right way. 2,000 gold advantage still. And Giants, they are ahead, but they need to start turning up the heat, because this feels very much like game 1 here for Millenium, where they're behind and act like they're ahead, and they make it work.
That is very true. A lot of that is because of the double sight stone that Millenium have. They've got a lot of vision from it, and or at least they should do. They don't have as much as they could right now, but they will look to set those wards up. But now Millenium feel like they're under pressure because they're having to back away to find a position for Kevin to actually get a good ultimate down. Kevin's ultimates have been on point, and they have actually been pretty good. That's a lot of damage, though.
Yeah, the big one connects onto XPeppy and make that a second missile barrage coming in from Corki, and he actually Spirit Rushes away. So that's a big ultimate down for XPeppy. That's on a fairly short cooldown, but doesn't want to be using it in full retreat.
No, but I think Pepperino would rather be safe and away than falling, but Frederick may fall here, but gets himself over the wall. Stun will follow him, though, but Millenium want to turn to bot lane. The problem with that is bot lane outer tower is still up, so they will finally get that. And
Down it goes.
A little bit later than I think they would have anticipated getting it, but finally they can reassess the situation.
Indeed. XPeppy, again, following his build path. Looking towards now his death cap, you would assume. Not going for the death by grasp, though he could go in either direction now with that measly large rod. Blue buff now taken away, with a sprinkling of wards as well into that jungle. And let's take a look at this bottom lane. So Whirly Beam has found a new home down here, has picked the Hex Drinker as well. And now it's definitely turned into a slower pace. No different from what we've seen before from these teams.
I feel, though, that's Giants dragging Millenium into this pace. And it's not a pace that Millenium are really going to want to play for too long. I mean, Millenium do have themselves the team fighting composition here. When you look at it, Rumble Ultimate, Shockwave, Cataclysm, and J-Ree's Ultimate as well. This is finally potentially not a pick composition from Millenium. So we'll see if they can get this to work. As you know, I guess they could just use all their ultimates on one person.
True.
Wouldn't go down too well.
It would still be a pick composition.
It would.
Be inefficient, but they could play it like that if they wanted to.
Hey,
but you know, funnily enough, this is not a pick composition, but they're not feeling that comfortable on it. So yes, they can play other things, but it's not their primary composition to go to, and it's showing in this game. They're still, you know, doing all the housekeeping things like maintaining the vision. You can see it over the map right now. And likewise with the warding, etc. 22 minutes into the game, they're doing all the right things, but they just don't feel as comfortable as they do on a pick composition.
And because of it, no team is really pushing into one another at this point. And this game feels like it's about 20 minutes later than it is, because we're only at 22 minutes into the game and we're already starting to grind to a bit of a stalemate here. But Millenium take the turret.
Well, a teleport coming in from behind here by Whirly B. This could be a great setup to a fight. Comes in from behind, gets stunned up. Transcendent Blades as well, but the teleport onto the flag here from Kevin comes in from behind. Flash Pulverize onto 2, onto Creaton. They are caught right in the middle of the fight. X-Peppy tries to get the assassination down, takes down the support. Full retreat now. Kevin gets destroyed. 2 for 0. They keep up the chase. Frederick with the Kha'Zix. There's the Shockwave, lands onto 2. Just doesn't simply have the damage yet, though. And a 2 for 0 from Giants. This is them just increasing their advantage.
Giants are in 2 minds. They were looking to turn out, but the equalizer in that engage really did not hit the mark. Kevin used it to kind of split up Giants, but they were in a wide lane right now. Look at Frederick hunting for a kill.
Closing in from the side. He is the hunter, but decides better of it. Ryu just keeps him in sight with his ball. And now they choose to back off, but not before taking everything they own from the jungle.
Ooh, Giants didn't really convert that into too much of an objective, and Dragon spawned very recently as well. Will Giants go and take that down, knowing that Millenium have just respawned? So this could be a good timing for Millenium off of an awkward fight here to try and equalize a little bit of the gold.
And as we see the blue trinket come out, they did spot them recalling with the Dragon live. So Millenium may just choose to go onto this objective now. The ball comes out. It's all about vying for the control over this area, regaining this control, making sure it stays within the river, because for a second there they lapsed in concentration and Giants took an objective right off from the side, initiates this fight. Here comes the ultimates as well. Here comes the Cataclysm followed by the equalizer, but it doesn't really tag anyone. Whirly B goes too deep though and does get cut off. Horo and the rest of the team will have to run away here again. Rhino with the slam bam combo will be picking up this kill 1 for 1. And Frederick from the side is desperate to find his reset. Adri is in very healthy shape, tries to move on to the rest of the team, but the front line isn't there.
Giants are looking towards Dragon, but in that fight, the equalizer was a lot better from Kevin. Horo is not available. Rydal dropping low.
Rydal drops low from the missile barrage coming in. This is difficult from both of these teams as they're still fighting for control. Whirly B, a couple seconds away from respawning. So is Horo. It will take them a while in terms of travel time to get back in here. But Adria's dipping and diving from outside the fight, chipping away at people, and that signals the retreat from both teams.
There's too much poke at the tail end of this fight to actually fight for Millenium, and they really haven't yet comboed their ultimates exactly as they need to. We haven't really seen that massive Shockwave after the Cataclysm, and Shockwave is still available. Ryu didn't even really use it during that fight. It became available right at the beginning. So Millenium didn't really find the position that they were looking for in that engage. And Giants, still they're ahead. Still they maintain control, but Whirly B.
Flag drag onto Whirly B. Does not quite connect, however. Rest of the team is in tow. Here comes the stun by J-Ree. Forces the flash. 2-shot barrage comes through. Means they will back away. But here we are again, Stress, with the Dragon Dance.
And the Dragon Dance is on. But ultimates are available for Millenium, all the way down. Adri does not have his. Pepperino does, though. So, can they get that charm to begin this fight? Can they get that initial reset? That is going to be the deciding factor. But do they want mid lane?
Maybe. Frederick, again, clearing out these wards, just back and forth on the vision game here. Area denial is what the teams are looking for. But everyone did go back following that last skirmish, and there's a 2 Zhonya's Hourglass now picked up by Millenium, so that will be a big defining factor as we head into the next fight.
It's going to be a major factor, and even if they get that pink ward, you can see the Orianna ball will give them the vision. Now, do they know that Pepperino just backed away? Because that would give Millenium the numbers. But what did Pepperino back for? Looked like he picked up the Void Staff, and that is a big item there at this point. 26 minutes in, that extra magic penetration is going to go a long way in these fights. So it's on Millenium not to get caught out by a stray charm from Pepperino.
Giants are the one to instigate the action. 2-shot barrage again, tags Ryu. That's a fair chunk of damage onto Millenium's lineup. They again restart the Dragon, but they are now inside this pit, and that just equalizes down into this fight. Here comes the Tibbers as well. Onto Peppy, hasn't used his combo yet. Horror comes into the fight, but instantly gets taken down. He has trapped them in the pin, however, with his Cataclysm. But now here comes Frederick, picks up 3 kills, now chasing them down, and they are just running Millenium through. 4-0. He can't quite pick up the last kill. McHales comes out 4-0 plus the Dragon. Giants are running away with this game.
Another great engage out of Giants. Equalizer looked to have split them up perfectly, but they focus down the Dragon. Then they get the initial reset there. I believe the Shockwave was used on one person in the Dragon pit, if I'm not mistaken. At that point, Millenium are not comboing their ultimates together, and that is what they need to do with this composition. And Giants are 12 kills to 4 up with a big lead.
We joked about it before about, using this full teamfight composition on one person to get a pick, but that's actually what they're doing in teamfights. They're just focusing one person, hitting them with these AoE ultimates. Yeah, you drop someone low, but they don't even die. And Giants turn around, they get 1 kill, and they get all of you because Kha'Zix is in the game.
Oh my. Are we in for a massive upset? Could this be the game? Everybody's been talking about Millenium's changes. It's what everybody wants to see. But take a look down the stat lines. 4-1-5 for Pepperino. 4-1-4 for Adri is a fantastic spot to be in right now. This Millenium team has not gelled. The communication was an issue, and we're seeing it in their team fights. They really are not all on the same page.
Yeah, that could not be more true heading into this game. Whether it's a language barrier, whether it's just teamwork in general, this has always been an issue for them, and it is still remaining true in this new lineup and in this new showing with this team. They are behind in this game by a long way, and it is showing. Millenium recognize it. They're now on the back foot. They're not acting so confident, and Giants are taking every fight that they can, every little advantage, and they are in a good place to come in with the rest of the game.
But they have got to not get overconfident. They're ahead and they know it, but one moment of snacking in a team fight is a Cataclysm Shockwave away from being out of the LCS expansion tournament, potentially. So they have to just play this out as calmly as possible. They've got a lot of mobility to avoid such an ultimate combination. But Millenium may be cut off from the side here.
Oh, it's Giants who are going in for this initiation. They've found Ryu. They're separating him off from the fight. Here comes the ultimate, the Shockwave onto 2. But meanwhile, Adri picks up the kill onto support of J-Ree. Follows through with X-Peppy as well. Kevin gets dropped so low. That's a huge amount of damage from Ari alone. Follow up as well from Andri, waiting a couple seconds for the arcane shift. Here we go. Homing missile comes in. Creatine actually just stands still for a second, and Frederick comes in from around the side. Another 3-0. 15-4. Giants look like this is their game to lose.
Millenium just overextended in the mid lane, and there is so much damage here on Adri and X-Peppy that they just take anybody they want from the map. This is going to be the Baron going down as well. Horo is around. Can he get in to steal? Rydell is going to run line blocker here and just make sure nobody gets in on this Baron, and this is Giants' game right now to lose.
This is history in the making, Stress. Had this been game 1, right now I would be saying this is where Millenium need to be looking at their options and what they need to do for the rest of the series. We're in game 3. They do not have time to do that. They need to solve the issues right now because they are 10,000 gold behind. That is a huge uphill struggle, and they do not show any signs of getting back into this, but they're going to try. They take away the blue buff. It's a good start.
It's a small start, but this is not the composure you would expect from Kevin. Played in the LCS, multiple splits. Creatine played in the LCS, multiple splits. J-Ree, multiple splits in the LCS. Horo, former SKT T1S, sister team to the World Champions for 2013. And Ryu played on KT Rolster Bullets. Between the two of them, 3 top 4 finishes in OGN Champions, possibly the highest level of competition. This is not what you would expect from this lineup. And Giants, the team that everybody counted out, have a substantial lead in game 3.
The Spaniards are after their prize, and they are not letting go without a struggle. As you mentioned, you just round down every single member of Millenium. They all have a huge bunch of accolades behind them. And what are they doing in this game? Not very much. They need something to bring them back in. And it's not quite at the stage where they need a miracle, but it's getting there.
It's difficult for Giants to push, though. Ezreal is notoriously a bad pushing champion. He has a lot of poke. You need to whittle the team down, get them low enough so that they can't defend. That is the game plan here for Giants. If they can get a charm, that'll be brilliant for them. They can then look to get resets. But it's going to be a hard-worked game to actually close out for Giants. They haven't done critical damage to any of the infrastructure of the Millenium base, and that is what they need to look for if they want to push in. Without it, Millenium can kind of sit back, wait, and look for their engage. So it's very much so still all up in the air.
If we take a look back at these team fights, Stress, every single fight, Millenium have not utilized their composition to its fullest potential. If we do see a full 5-man Shockwave, plus a Cataclysm, plus an Equalizer, that is a dead team no matter who you are from Giants.
It is indeed. And at this point, Giants are sieging. And Millenium don't have many options other than to full-on engage. And they're looking to engage into a Baron-up team. They have to wait that out. Maybe forego the inner turrets. Maybe take it to inhibit the turrets. Let Giants have these last two. The gold difference isn't going to mean too much. But if Millenium get aced, Giants could look to really engage off this.
They could put a big dent into that base. Currently, they're getting chipped away, but Millenium are doing a good job of keeping healthy. Giants are finding it hard, though, to siege, and this may have slowed the assault slightly.
Ever so slightly. Let's take I don't want to deter too much from the action, but 0-0-12 on Rydell.
Oh, that was a good call, Stress, because here comes Rydell with the fight, incoming with the Equalizer as well. Here comes all the ultimate, but it doesn't matter what's happening because overall 4 for 0, make that 4 for 1, but it doesn't matter. Triple kill comes in for Kha'Zix, reset after reset. Down goes the turret, and only Creatine is left alive. 30 seconds left on the death timers. This is going to be brutal.
Nobody expects the flash pulverize from Rydell. He has had a fantastic game right now, and it looks like Giants want to push forward.
Could that have been the game-winning initiate by Rydell? The unseen cow comes in. Will be picking up the first Nexus turret. Now they back up.
They've learned their lesson from the last game. They overstayed in the previous game, and Giants have just done critical damage in the base of Millenium. They're going to back away. They know there is no Baron available. This is going to have to be a very carefully played out end of this. But the flash pulverize from Rydell, my goodness. This Alistar has been on point.
It's smart when you think about it, because from the jungle, last time they had the initiate from Frederick, now it's coming from Rydell, and it's working infinitely better. Rydell just knows when to initiate, and you just contrast that with Millenium. They are on the right page. Giants know when they're going in, and they commit, they pick up kills, they have their objective in sight.
Kevin in the middle lane.
Oh, getting caught out by X-Peppy. He cannot afford this. Whirly B as well, the Transcendent Blaze. Last one comes through. Equalizer doesn't do much against walls.
Oh, that is just the sign. Kevin was saying, I have to get this Equalizer off before I go, and down he goes. Down the middle lane turret goes, and straight down mid, the Giants push here because they have all the time in the world to take this middle inhibitor tower. Only one Nexus tower remains as well. 20 kills to 5. Who would have thought we'd be in this kind of situation? Everybody that said about anything about this game said Millenium had this easy.
Yeah. If you had said Giants will take this series 2-1, you would have been a crazy person. And right now, you're not looking crazy anymore because the middle inhibitor turret is
going
down. They're going for this engage. That will be the counter initiate, but it's nowhere near close enough.
Shockwave!
They got the shockwave onto 3 people, but it's still nowhere near the damage. A 2-for-1 currently, and now Frederick is the only one to drop. They still have plenty of damage behind them, but Whirly B is a one-man army. He goes on to Creatine. The last Nexus turret falls. They're moving on to the Nexus. This is Giants coming home with the 2-1 in this series, and they shut the door on Millenium's chances to get back into the LCS.
The Giants have become the giant killers